Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Argentina on the third leg of his five-nation visit of the Global South. It is the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister in 57 years. Prime Minister Modi wraps up his visit to Trinidad and Tobago, honoured with the country's top award. India exchanges 6 MOUs, including one on making affordable medicines available in the Caribbean island. Trump signs his flagship One Big Beautiful bill into law, brings tax relief and Medicaid cuts, says it is the biggest bill of its type in history. A new ray of hope emerges as Hamas submits positive response to a US-brokered Gaza ceasefire proposal in a major step towards a deal to halt the conflict after months of failed efforts. And in cricket, India on top at the Edgbaston Test as they lead by 244 runs against England at the end of the third day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Argentina on a 2-day visit. He will hold talks with the top leadership of the country to review existing cooperation and explore ways to strengthen ties in important areas. The visit aims to further deepen the multifaceted strategic partnership between India and Argentina. It is the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Argentina in 57 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a warm welcome from the Indian community upon arriving in Buenos Aires. Members of the Diaspora gathered at the hotel in the city to greet him with slogans, songs and traditional gestures. Upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival at the hotel, the Indian diaspora showed zeal, chanting "Sare Jahan Se Acha, Hindustata Hamara," turning the moment into a colourful celebration of Indian culture abroad. DD India's correspondent Arun Sharma gets us these glimpses.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Argentina and people of Indian diaspora, they have welcomed Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And not only that, it is basically the Argentine people, they are also welcoming Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Well, first of all, I have that cultural artist with me who performed in front of Prime Minister Modi. First of all, Anandini, tell us that what sort of cultural art form that you presented in front of Prime Minister Modi?
Namaskar. We presented Odissi, Bharatanatyam and Kathak. And we are super thrilled to have this opportunity, such a blessing, for us to perform in front of him and offer, a very traditional piece, a Mallari, and offering Pushpanjali, sun dance, and music.
All right. What did Prime Minister Modi tell you when he met you when you were performing the dance?
I saw him looking at us intently, and then at some point I hear him saying "Sabash" and praising us. So
you know what Shabash means?
I think it means great work.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I'm so happy that it went on well, and we had this amazing opportunity to perform. Yeah, so 3 different styles together in Argentina, welcoming the Prime.
This is known as Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. That means the India coming together. It's one India primarily. These people might be from different states in India, but they are living in Argentina. But today they are saying that we are from India. This is Bharat. And of course, they want to sing some song first of all. Yeah, what was that song?
Sare jahan se acha, Hindustata hamara hamara. Sare jahan se acha, Hindul ful hai iske. ये गुलसिता हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा
सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा. That is what the Indian diaspora in Argentina is saying today when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is here in Argentina. So first of all, sir, you also tell me that you are residing in Argentina. Now as an Argentinian, how are you looking at the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Argentina?
Well, first of all, we are very happy and very elated. Modi ji has changed India, and I think our local government has also a lot to learn from Modi ji, and they can bring those changes to Argentina also.
This gentleman is from Maharashtra, and his wife is from Argentina. So yes, this is an ideal case study that how the Indian culture is uniting two countries. So tell me something: is yoga, Ayurveda, is that uniting you people?
Yes, very much so. We met 7 years ago in a yoga ashram together, and she's an excellent yoga teacher, and she teaches physical yoga, a bit of philosophy. I teach philosophy of yoga and mantras, and I sing myself. And yoga is something which is uniting the two countries together.
The Indian diaspora are really excited to meet Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and of course this visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to give a major push to people-to-people ties as well as far as the India-Argentina relations are concerned. With camera person Vinay, Arun Sharma, Doordarshan News, Argentina.
In an exclusive conversation with DD India, Jose Toscano, President, American Region, Godrej Consumer Products Limited, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Argentina marks a turning point in India-Argentina relations. He highlighted the strong complementarities between the two economies, especially in sectors like pharma, agriculture, digital infrastructure and technology. Toscano praised India's massive reforms and called its digital public infrastructure a global game changer.
I'm joined by Jose Toscano, who is the President and CEO of the American region of Godrej Consumer Products Limited. Sir, thank you so much for talking to Doordarshan. First of all, how are you looking at the Prime Minister Modi's visit to Argentina? How will it give a major push to the trade and the business ties going forward?
Thank you for having me. I think this is a very important visit, a historic milestone for the relationship between India and Argentina. I see a lot of complementaries between the two countries. I think, India has a lot to offer to Argentina. When I think on the pharma industry, medicines, taking down the prices that Argentinian consumers pay for drugs and medicines. I think on top of that, industrial machines, I think India has upscaled their game over the past decades. You have big scale, very big productivity lines that we can have benefit of bringing them into our country. And I think Argentina still have many things to offer to India, on the agri sector, oils, seeds, talent. And I also think, the agenda that Prime Minister Modi is bringing, reducing regulations, cutting down taxes, I think it has a lot of similarities to what President Milei is doing in Argentina. So I'm sure this will be a milestone and a turning point in the relationship of the two countries looking forward. Yeah.
So when we talk about developing economies, the global south, what advantage do you see in India from the business point of view?
I think if I compare India to US or even to China, I think the two main benefits is that you have a lot of efficiencies. So the price of goods of machines are much more competitive in comparison to US or even to China. Also the caliber of talent that you have in different sectors, different industries, I think it's world class, and I think Argentina has many opportunities to benefit of that. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you see the reforms that have been undertaken by India recently and of course in past 1 decade? Do you think this gives advantage to India as well to capture this big market, amidst this trade war that is happening right now?
Absolutely. Argentina is a big country in Latin America. We are talking a country about 47 million of population, GDP per capita of around $14,000 US. And I think all the measures that Prime Minister Modi has taken in terms of bringing down taxes, promoting the private sector to grow, I think that really turns India into a competitive advantage to win in Argentina and to improve the trade balance between the two markets. I think that's a key advantage that India has among some other countries when we think in bilateral commerce.
Thank you so much for talking to Doordarshan. So clearly, this is the view of the corporate sector here in Argentina, that India has a competitive advantage, and therefore this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi can prove to be a game changer as far as giving a major push to the trade ties or giving a major push to the economic ties between both the nations. With camera person Vinay, Arun Sharma, Doordarshan News, Argentina.
In an exclusive conversation with DD India, Gustavo Idegoris, Executive Director of the India-Argentina Business Council, revealed that India and Argentina aim to boost bilateral trade from $5 billion to $8 billion with a target of $14 billion by 2040. He also emphasized Argentina's keen interest in signing a free trade agreement with India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Argentina is going to be significant from the economic point of view as well, from the trade ties perspective as well. To give an analytical aspect of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Argentina, I am joined by the Executive Director of the India-Argentina Business Council to talk on this. Sir, thank you so much for talking to us. First of all, sir, how is the India-Argentina Business Council looking at the Indian Prime Minister Modi's visit to Argentina from the economic aspect, sir?
Well, from the economic aspect and commercial point of view, it's the most important visit. Really, from the India-Argentina Business Council, we are trying to boost investment from Indian companies in Argentina, and also to boost trade, bilateral trade, goods coming and technology coming from India, and also try to expand our commerce, particularly in agricultural product, to India. We consider India as one of the strategic partners of Argentina, and we are looking for a long relationship with Mercosur countries and India in coming years.
What are the trade targets that we can expect now? Because right now, India and Argentina, they both have trade targets of approximately $5 billion. So what is the IABC's analysis? Where will the trade targets go going forward? Because both the countries are riding high as far as reforms are concerned.
Yes, exactly. We are supporting all the new reform introduced by the Argentine government. This new administration is trying to open the economy. It's trying to reduce the level of regulation from the state in order to allow private sector to increase investment and employment. So we are supporting that as a business council with a view also to increase our economic and bilateral exchange, particularly from this 5 billion till around more than 8 billion in the next 5 years. It also could be very feasible to achieve. The final view for 2040 is to arrive at 14 billion US dollar on the annual economic exchange.
How do you look at the leadership of both the nations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the President of Argentina? So how is their chemistry? How is the business community looking at their, a personal rapport so that the boost can be given to the economic relations as well?
Well, let me tell you, Mr. President Milei in Argentina have already pointed out several times that he considers Prime Minister Modi as a universal leader, one of the most important leaders, and he is looking also to enhance relationship with India. So from the Argentine government, probably you will see and you will realize a total support and collaboration with that. The second point is that Argentina is trying to convince all the others Mercosur countries to sign a free trade agreement with India. That could be our most important goal in coming years.
Thank you so much, sir, for talking to us. So clearly, the Executive Director of IABC clearly mentioning this point that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Argentina will give a new momentum to the trade ties between India and Argentina, and the trade could be, given a major push going forward. With camera person Vinay, Arun Sharma, Doordarshan News, Argentina.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded his landmark two-day visit to Trinidad and Tobago, marking a new chapter in the bilateral relations. The visit saw deepening of the relationship between the two countries with unprecedented warmth and respect on display.
A moment of history in Port of Spain. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred the highest civilian honor of Trinidad and Tobago, the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. A rare recognition bestowed at a grand ceremony hosted by President Christine Carla Kangaloo at her official residence.
इस सम्मान का पहली बार किसी फॉरेन लीडर को दिए जाना हमारे विशेष संबंधों की गहराई को दर्शाता है. यह संबंध हमारे साझा इतिहास और सांस्कृतिक धरोहर पर आधारित है.
Trinidad and Tobago is immensely glad to have been able to bestow upon you, sir, our nation's highest honor, in recognition of the tremendous work that you have done with our nation over the years, and for the kindness and the generosity which you have always shown to our country, and indeed our region. Your kindness and generosity to the people of Trinidad and Tobago are legendary.
Earlier in the day, PM Modi also congratulated President Kangaloo for being conferred the Prasar Bharati Samman Award and invited her to visit India soon. Later, Prime Minister Modi met with Trinidad and Tobago's newly elected Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bharati at the historic Red House. In their first bilateral meeting since her re-election, both leaders discussed ways to deepen cooperation in key sectors. 6 MOUs signed between India and Trinidad and Tobago. Pharmacopoeia collaboration, cooperation on standards for medicines and traditional drugs, quick impact projects, support for grassroots level development projects in TNT, cultural exchange program, promotion of mutual art, heritage and cultural initiatives, sports cooperation, joint training programs and exchange in youth and sports, diplomatic training, capacity building through training of TNT diplomats in India, ICCR chairs for Hindi and Indian studies, establishing Indian language and cultural studies in TNT universities.
Prime Minister Modi is recognized internationally as one of the world's most respected, most admired, visionary leaders who has transformed and redefined and repositioned his own country as a prominent and dominant global power.
Both Prime Ministers called for greater cooperation on climate action, cyber security and disaster management while reaffirming their joint resolve to combat terrorism in all its forms. Prime Minister Narendra Modi described terrorism as the enemy of humanity and called for a united global stand against it during an address to the joint session of Trinidad and Tobago's parliament.
Terrorism is the enemy of humanity. This very Red House has itself witnessed the wounds of terror and the loss of innocent blood. We must stand united to deny terrorism any shelter or space. We thank the people and the government of this country for standing with us in our fight against terrorism.
PM Modi thanked TNT for its solidarity against terrorism and reiterated India's commitment to the Global South. PM Modi's outreach to the Caribbean has reignited a historic bond powered by shared values, strategic cooperation and a vibrant Indian diaspora. With inputs from Akshay Dongre from Trinidad and Tobago, DD India.
So that sums up Prime Minister's visit. Presently, Prime Minister is in Argentina. We'll keep you updated with the developments there. But at present, we're heading for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. On Americans' 249th birthday on the 4th of July, US President Donald Trump signed what he calls the One Big Beautiful Bill, a tax and spending package that could reshape US policy for years. Although it is also facing fierce opposition from both Democrats and some in Trump's own party. No more with this report by DD India's Antara Sinha.
At a grand Independence Day ceremony in Washington with First Lady Melania Trump by his side, US President Donald Trump brushed aside criticism on the 4th of July. The pomp was unmistakable. A B-2 stealth bomber flyover fighter jets against that dramatic backdrop. The US President declared,
"What we've done is put everything into one bill. It's never happened before. It's the biggest bill of its type in history."
Flanked by Republican lawmakers, Donald Trump signed the massive bill that delivers on key campaign promises. But the cost? An estimated $3.4 trillion added to the national deficit over 10 years. The bill also brings the largest cuts to Medicaid since it began in the 1960s. Analysts say up to 17 million Americans could lose coverage, with rural hospitals especially hard hit. Despite its passage, the bill has deeply divided Republicans. It scraped through the House by just 4 votes, 218 to 214. GOP Speaker Mike Johnson rallied last-minute holdouts, earning a public thank you from Trump. Even former ally Elon Musk opposed the measure, calling it fiscally reckless. The signing of the bill caps 2 weeks of wins for Trump, including a Supreme Court ruling limiting judges' ability to block his policies, a NATO spending deal, and a ceasefire between Iran and Israel following what Trump described as flawless US airstrikes. Democrats say the bill is a massive wealth shift from the poorest Americans to the richest, and they're betting on public anger to help flip the House in 2026. For now, Trump celebrates a legislative victory. However, the battle lines are already being drawn, with 2026 midterms looming. Antara Sinha for DD India.
Happy 4th of July.
Hamas on Friday said that it was ready to start talks immediately on a proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza. The announcement came after it held consultations with other Palestinian factions and before a visit on Monday by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Washington, where President Trump is pushing for an end to the conflict now in its 21st month. Hamas ally Islamic Jihad said that it supported ceasefire talks but demanded guarantees that Israel will not resume its aggression once the hostages held in Gaza are freed. 2 previous ceasefires brokered by Qatar, Egypt and the United States have seen temporary halts in fighting, coupled with the return of Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. India is not only the world's 4th largest economy, it is also one of the most equal societies today. As per the latest World Bank data, India's Gini index stands at 25.5, making it the 4th most equal country in the world after Slovak Republic, Slovenia and Belarus. This achievement reflects India's consistent focus on reducing poverty, expanding financial inclusion and delivering targeted welfare through initiatives such as Jan Dhan Yojana, direct benefit transfers and Ayushman Bharat. Over the past decade, 171 million Indians have been lifted out of extreme poverty, with the poverty rate falling sharply from 16.2% in 2011-12 to just 2.3% in 2022-23 based on the $2.15 per day threshold. India's steady progress towards income equality has brought real improvements in people's lives. India stands out as a global example of how economic growth and equality can go hand in hand, proving that with inclusive policies and strong intent, development and fairness can advance together. A look at sports now. India finished day 3 of the second test on 64 runs for the loss of 1 wicket to lead England by 244 runs at Edgbaston on Friday. The visitors dismissed the hosts for 407 in the first innings, despite Jamie Smith's commanding an unbeaten knock of 184 runs. England had slumped to 84 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Smith and Harry Brook transformed the innings in a masterclass of counter-attacking cricket as both smashed centuries in a crucial 6th wicket partnership worth a precious 303 runs. But the new ball proved England's undoing as they lost their last 5 wickets for 20 runs. Mohammad Siraj took 6 wickets and fellow paceman Akashdeep got 4 scalps. A tournament named after India's double Olympic medal winner Neeraj Chopra kicks off in the southern city of Bengaluru on Saturday. The star-studded 12-member Neeraj Chopra Classic is set to be the country's first World Athletics Category A event. Ace javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra hopes the competition would transform India's athletics landscape and also becomes a regular occurrence. Here's a report.
The Neeraj Chopra Classic, a javelin throw competition in Bengaluru on Saturday, marks a watershed moment for Indian sports. The star-studded inaugural tournament is set to be India's first World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Level or World Athletics Category A event. The Neeraj Chopra Classic, named after double Olympic medals winner Neeraj Chopra, features top stars from the world. India's ace javelin thrower Chopra clinched gold and silver medals at Tokyo and Paris Olympics. Neeraj, who broke the 90-meter mark for the first time at the Doha Diamond League, is among the favourites to claim the title.
बिल्कुल परफॉर्मेंस के लिए तो सोच ही रहा हूं कि अच्छा थ्रो करना है, लेकिन सबसे उससे ही बड़ी बात है कि इस इवेंट को कैसे सक्सेसफुल कर सके और आगे फ्यूचर में इसको बढ़ा सकें, ताकि हम कोशिश कर सकें कि बाकी एथलेटिक्स इवेंट्स भी इसमें ऐड करें और हमारे जो अच्छे इंडियन एथलीट्स हैं उनको भी मौका मिल पाए.
Some of the prominent names include Olympic gold medalist Thomas Roller of Germany and 2015 world champion Julius Yego of Kenya and Luis Mauricio da Silva of Brazil. The Indian contingent is completed with Sachin Yadav, Rohit Yadav, Sahil Silwal and Yashveer Singh. The 12-member tournament aspires to be an important step in India's quest to become a world sporting power and provide a world-class platform to aspiring young athletes. Sports Desk, DD India.
All right, with that, we end this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.